Huntsville High School is next.
When you start a career in education, everybody deserves to know this one thing, that there are two people in your building that you gotta get in good with. You gotta make them your best friend. And I see people looking at you know exactly what I'm talking about, the school secretary and the janitor. And I can tell you, when you have a good school secretary, it makes all the difference, and when you have a bad one, it makes all the difference. When you have a good janitor, it makes all the difference in a bad one. For some reason, if you can have everything good going in the building, and if you have a bad janitor, it could pull down the whole culture of the building. I mean, it's an important thing. So I'm always very grateful to have good secretaries and a good janitor. Unfortunately, the good ones get grabbed up and moved or advanced, and which that's what happened to you, and I'm still upset about it. Okay, but we were so fortunate to get a new janitor who comes to work with a smile on his face every day, with a great attitude, who does everything that he's asked to do and more. And really, you don't have to ask because he's already thought of it and he's already taken care of it. And I can tell you, there are times when I've said, James, we need to get this done. He said, I've already done it, I've already taken care of it. And so that's the kind of people we want. He loves kids, and I hope he stays for a long time. That's James Busby.
I'm out, guys.
You gotta get pictures. We got one more than pictures.
Okay.
All right, St. Paul and Miss Harris is gonna do that.
Okay, Bruce couldn't be here because he has a ball game, and this teacher was unable to make it. She has family from out of the country in visiting, so of course we're happy that she's able to be with them. So Terry Simmons is being recognized at St. Paul, and this is what Bruce sent me to read. Terry is one of the hardest working people I know, and she continually puts students' best interests first. She truly loves seeing students learn, and that passion is evident in everything she does. Terry has a remarkable ability to focus on each student's strengths while encouraging them to grow and reach their full potential. She's an outstanding teacher who makes a lasting impact in the classroom. Beyond her work with students, Terry is a wonderful coworker. She is supportive, dependable, and always willing to help others. Her presence makes our school a better place, and I truly cannot imagine our St. Paul family without her. We are incredibly grateful to Terry Simmons for all she does for our students and our community. So we just wanted to recognize Terry, even though she couldn't be here.
Some pictures real quick.
Pause for pictures.
Quick, okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda, and unless the board has any questions, of course, it contains the January board meeting minutes, 2 out-of-state trip requests, one a senior class trip to Branson, and the other one junior bank board to Kansas City, and then 2 student transfer requests, and both of those students have not attended Huntsville School. So, just for your information, so.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a
Motion
motion.
Natalie, second by Nick, all in favor?
Good. And then on to the superintendent report. And these are just informational and some good things. So the budget approval, I received a letter from the Department of Ed that Tina did a great job and they've approved our budget that we had sent to them for this school year, which of course, it's a lot of work and it's an honor when they come back and don't have any questions and they approve it for us. So we're good to go for now, money wise. I mean, the budget was. Sorry, Tina. The second one is, we're honored, and I'm tickled to death that we have Mr. Robinson come in and talk. He brought me an idea, and so this again is just informational about some plans that he might have, and of course, if everybody's okay with it, and we don't really need a vote yet, he's just going to provide information of an idea that he has, which is a great idea, so.
Thank you, Jay. Just take one of those and pass it down, please. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you. For those of you that I haven't got to meet yet, my name is Adam Robison. I have had the absolute privilege of being your GT teacher this year. My background is in high school. I was a high school principal and speech and drama teacher. This was the first year I got to work with littles, and they have taught me how to be a better teacher. I love those babies. I get bus duty in the morning, and I get about 75 hugs before 8 a.m., and it's the best place to be in the entire world. I have been to 4 other school districts in my time as a teacher and principal, and I've worked with other GT coordinators. And one of the ideas that I gleaned from one of these master coordinators is a domestic and international travel program that will not only give our kids in-depth learning experiences, but from a marketing point of view in this age of school choice, it's also going to be a point of attraction for people who want to come. The chaperone, what am I trying to say? The chaperone arrangements and all of those plans are in that handout that I gave you. We're looking at a 1-to-3 student to adult ratio so that we make sure that those little babies are taken care of and protected whenever we go places. But we're looking at New York in 27, either Paris or Germany in 29, and then Orlando in 31. And essentially what this plan does is it gives our kids, our GT, gifted and talented kids, the opportunity to go and study in another state or in another country, 2 domestic trips and 2 international trips from the time they're in the 5th grade to the 12th grade. These trips will be fundraised so that if there's any sort of financial difficulty on a home, we can make sure that those babies have the same opportunities that some of our others that wouldn't be a problem for. We're also going to work with EF Tours, which is an established tour company that provides insurance for the district and for families attending this. Should something unfortunate happen, nevertheless, it's not going to. We're just gonna say that, how about that? But we're looking at an established tour company, we're looking at an established price, and I just want permission and the okay to put a lot of work into this so that we can offer something to our kids that they're not getting now. A reward for being really smart and learning in places they typically probably wouldn't get to learn. And so before I put all this work into it and then the board said, wait a minute, what's this crazy guy doing? I wanted to bring it to your attention and make sure that if I was pushing against any hard limits here in Huntsville, I knew now so that I could dedicate these interests somewhere else. But if you guys are open to it, I think we have an opportunity to do something really incredible for kids. That's been my heart since I got into education 25 years ago, and it continues to be, and that's why I would love to do this here at Huntsville. So,
And Adam's right, so remember again, it's not an action item, because we're gonna keep it the same like any out-of-state trip, it'll be later. We just wanted to give you the information, and then if you have any questions, so we can kind of gauge everything before Adam takes the big step and starts trying to work like crazy to get this accomplished.
I have a first question. Will this be offered to every GT student, or is it a certain age, or only a select few get to go? How does
that's a
that work?
great question. Right now, I've designated ages 5th grade to 12th grade,
Okay.
just simply because that's where EF Tours starts their offering. The insurance for families and whatnot extends to 5th through 12th grade students, and so it would be a financial liability to take younger students.
And you do GT at both campus, at the St. Paul campus and the high
I do. I get to go to St. Paul once a week, and then once a month I'm there every day of the week and
So
get to work.
those kids would be involved.
Those kids will definitely be involved, and next year as we expand our GT offerings into the middle and high school up here and the middle and high school down at St. Paul, it's gonna be really exciting. Our kids are getting ready to have activities and opportunities like they've never had in our gifted and talented program. It was a promise I made to Jay and to Paula and Matt when I was interviewed, and it's a promise I intend to deliver.
And we've had lots of kids go on EF tours from this district, so.
It's very established, it's highly reputable, and we're gonna make sure that we take care of our kids. I just, there are some schools that I've been to, I've been to 4 schools, there was one of them that said, we don't do out-of-state travel. And so before I made any promises to those babies or held a parent meeting or anything else, I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly where you guys stood so that I could fall in line with the district. And if you say no to this, we'll find other activities, that's okay. This isn't the only way we're gonna make these kids have a great time, but this is something that would really stand out and, at least from a marketing standpoint, be a pretty exceptional point to be able to brag about Huntsville.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I love it, yep.
Thank you guys so much. If you have any other feelings or anything else you would like to share, please share it with Jay. We communicate often, and respectfully, I'll go ahead and bid you farewell. Okay, have a great evening.
Mr. Robinson.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So there's 2 other things, informational, and just kind of to share with y'all and then get y'all's thoughts on it, okay? Again, they're not action items for us to vote on or anything. The first one is, everybody knows I don't have social media. And so, whenever something comes up that people think that I should know, I get it sent to me. So anyway, and one of them was the 5-day week idea. Now, I found it humorous that we haven't even discussed that, but it was supposed to be tonight at the board meeting. And so, I sometimes do some good things, so I thought, well, we probably need to bring that up and start the discussion. So that's why I wanted us to just discuss that. We don't, again, it's not an action item right now, but just to kind of get out where everybody hears kind of our thoughts of where we are and if that's something we need to start working on. Me, and I don't want to speak for Matt and Paula, but we've talked about it, and we are more than willing to do the legwork, however that works out. I feel myself that it's very valuable with an important decision like this. We need time to get everybody's input. And because it's more based on what's best for our kids, and I always revert back when I was working on my doctoral degree, this old superintendent in Texas said, don't ever forget, it's their kids, their school, their money. And so, you always have to kind of keep that in mind. And so, I just wanted to bring that out and see what y'all's thoughts were, and, but I do feel like that's something that we probably need to start thinking about, one way or the other.
Well, on video and stuff tonight, I'd like you to make it a point to all these keyboard warriors that this ain't something that will take place next school year. It will at least be the year after, right?
or
Well, that's why I'm asking y'all what, I mean,
we don't?
how, you know,
Well,
We definitely need more data collected. We need to be able to, everybody, get test scores in, get data, because we know St. Paul is doing well. And we need to see if Huntsville improves or what it looks like from the data standpoint. And then get community input, involvement once we present that data to everyone. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the community definitely needs to have an input in it, for sure.
just like last time, polls and
Teacher
votes,
polls,
teacher
parent
polls
polls.
going out.
Yep.
It can't just be one-sided.
making my notes, so.
Yep, you're good.
And somebody told me, and Steve said he saw it, that somebody created, I guess, a fake,
It's gone now though.
yeah, but that they had created that.
Yeah.
Was it about the
Yeah, it was wanting to gain a petition or start a petition to go back to 5 days. Which, I mean, it used our district logo, so it was a little bit misleading.
Yeah, so it wasn't, we didn't put that out.
No,
That's
we
what
did not put that out. That was somebody else and, Mr. Chalk was able to get out a message and say, hey, we're not voting on this yet. This is not.
Yeah.
We nothing's went before teachers yet. Nothing is being done yet.
Well, and I think y'all agree that, I mean, this is a very important decision and it affects, I mean, like a lot of lives in our community, so my feelings are one way or the other. We need to make sure we do due diligence and we try to get all the input we can, and I totally agree about the data and make a good informed decision on what we feel like is best for our kids, and so, you know, with only being here 7 months, you know, we're doing salary schedules now, and so, you know, but I do, Steve, agree with you that we need, this can't be a rushed kind of thing, but we do take in all the input and data we can get and make a good informed decision, so that way folks understand whatever we decide, that's what we're using and we're thinking about what's best for our kids and we're not just automatically making a decision based on a Facebook post or
Do we
whatever.
have a deadline that we have to have the 26, 27 calendar out?
Yeah, well,
When is the deadline that we have to know, like, for the school calendar, 26, 27 year?
Yeah, there's no set
Okay.
deadline, Natalie, by the state, you just pretty much try, like some traditionally do it early. But this is just my view, I always try to do it, you have to have that in place before contract and renewal time gets started. And I really appreciate it, cause I found out that it's done a little different here. The other places it was admin, kind of set, and there were options. And then it was given to the staff for input and parents if they wanted input in that. And then the board made the decision on which one we would go with. You know, I'm not throwing Matt under the bus or anything, but Matt's kind of told me, well, it kind of, here, it's traditionally kind of come from the staff, which I'm totally great. I mean, and that's awesome. That probably would have solved me a lot of problems in the past.
So, I will say, the last couple of years, being on the 4-day, we've done that internally with admin, but we are passing that back to PPC, which is traditionally what's been done before, and they're working on creating some options to send out to staff, so.
So
Did that answer that?
If there, could we see data on, cause I wasn't on the board then, but when we went from 5 to 4, can we see data showing where, like the reasoning why we went from 5 to 4, the data that supports that to show if it has helped or?
So it's gonna be a
I mean, if
little
it
bit
was-
skewed
Uh-huh.
because we switched testing. And then there was the pilot year of testing because nobody knew what we were gonna do. And so it's just very skewed data. Because when we switched, was kind of a bad time when it came to the new testing standards coming into play.
Are there other reasons, like if it was like attendance was a reason, can we see data on if it has increased attendance or?
and
Another thing I'd like to
Teacher.
see is what, like the poll, whenever everyone's saying X amount % of teachers wanted 4-day, I'd like to see that versus now what they want as well. please. Thank you.
Yeah, and, I believe I'm right in saying this, it's a requirement for us to get input every year to stay on the 4-day, and so we'll have to have some input, at least from community and staff and students, so, yeah, we're already planning on getting some surveys sent out for that stuff too, so.
If we tracked financially, like not running bus routes for that extra day and all that stuff, have we tracked any of that where we could see money savings from that one day as well?
Yeah, I don't believe we have, Nick, but that would probably, in my mind, be one of the easiest things for us to do. You know, because if you went by average mileage that we do a day and how much.
I think that would be good information to know as well.
Yeah, and I think, and the substitute use.
Yes.
We've
Lunchroom
contacted the ESS to get us a report on that, we just haven't heard back from them yet, so.
But this is great things, I mean, I appreciate y'all for generating these ideas, cause that helps us out when we start doing that of what exactly y'all want to see, so you can make sure that you have the information you want to make an informed decision, so. If we leave here and you think of something, please email me and we'll add it to the list with Paula and we'll start working on that. And I also wanted to kind of ask y'all your thoughts about something else. With us three talking about it and me telling them, hey, since this was brought up, maybe this is something we need to address, and it's probably about time. If you guys are okay with it, you know, I'd kind of like, you know, you can ask Jim, I'm a planner. I've got to have things, you know, laid out for me.
You're an OCD there, I'm all.
Well, I'm not, Steve, I'm not so smart, so I gotta have step one, step two.
I understand completely.
Now, Jim would probably agree to that, but anyway.
She's not saying a word back there.
So if you guys are okay with it, I have this thought too, that once, you know, we start working on that information, that we three come up with a timeline and kind of an action plan to let the community know, here's what we're doing and here's the steps we're gonna need to take to go through to make the best decision possible. So are y'all okay with that?
I think that's a great
I think a public meeting wouldn't hurt nothing.
Yeah, well, and Matt had mentioned that, also,
As
so.
long as they are warned, they will have to keep it under control or be escorted out.
Yeah. Well, and I totally agree with that, Steve. Again, I think it comes down to, you know, getting everybody's ideas and then involvement and that they know that they're being heard and giving people the opportunity to do that with, you know, cause I've seen other places that just make a decision. And that's not always the best thing to do. You know, and I think that the community will really appreciate it, that we're doing it this way. And we wanna hear from them, cause it is, it's their money, their kids and their schools.
We would need to do one up here and then one in St. Paul,
Yes.
that way,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
they're not having to travel all the way up here to.
And I mean, on a deal like that, we don't have to have a quorum to go to a public meeting, right?
Oh, no.
So it was just who could make it and who would be fine, right? Okay.
Yeah, because it's
So
not a
that, you know,
board
just in
meeting.
case somebody couldn't make it because of a job or something, because
Yeah,
you
it'd
never
just be
know.
an informational from the admin.
Right.
Kind of thing, if they have any questions and stuff, so.
I think a lot of people's opinions on it are based on convenience for adults. So and I think the bottom line is that we just need to remember and look at the data on what's best for the kids.
True, that's a good point. So anything else on that? Okay, and then my last informational item is, you know, we had talked about, and I'd been asked about, you know, our improvement plans and stuff, and so we've been really blessed with TNT coming in from the state and assigned to us, and then covering that portion of that, so we can look at things academically and instructionally. We're also blessed too that we've been in contact with our co-op and with Jody, who's the director, and so it was supposed to be the first initial meeting last week where we're meeting with them and they are reaching out and saying, hey, what could we do to help y'all out? And using their resources also and teaming with us, and so I just wanted to let you know that's a very good and positive thing, that we're gonna be able to team with them and use their resources also, so we can get this thing going in the right direction. So that's a good thing, and I'll let you know after we reschedule that initial meeting and how that's going. But basically, they want to ask us what we feel like our needs are. They want to improve or review and listen to us for the improvement strategies that we're starting off with that I'd mentioned to y'all. And so they can help out with that, and then they want to identify ways they can support us and help us out. That's that initial meeting, those three things that we're going to talk about. So I'll keep y'all updated once we do that, okay? And that was it for the superintendent's report.
Has that team from the state, have they finished their, like, first evaluation or second or third, whatever they do, and so they've already given you?
Yes, sorry, I'm speaking out of turn. But she's, so Meredith was the one that came and spoke. She sends a report that she sends to me first, like, look over this, make sure. So I've just recently received
Okay.
one, actually Friday or Saturday. So yes, and I can send that to Jay to send to you guys too.
And she's got,
Same, but our data, like her walks for her comprehension got put off because of the snow. So they did like a data thing at the beginning of the year, so we haven't got that yet with looking at like the growth because they haven't done the comprehension walk yet. But we do have that report she's talking about.
and are they working at the middle school too?
No, this is October.
Yeah, and so that's a great question, Connie. So I've got 6 dates with Leanne and her observations down in the month of February alone, to where, you know, at least one of us, and hopefully all 3 of us will be joining her and, you know, getting her thoughts and capturing, you know, what she sees and ways that we can help and link together and collaborate and help everything out, so.
I'm speaking out of turn again, but I just have to share, Matt was in the meeting with Meredith the last time that she was on site, and she said, how do you get your teachers to just buy in as soon as we give them some feedback? And I just think that's a testament to the teachers that we have in our buildings, that they hear, hey, this is something that I may be able to tweak to do better for our kids, and they jump right on it. And I hear from their experience that's not the case in every school that they work with, so we're just,
That's awesome.
I have to brag on our team. I know Kayla's building is the same way, so.
They've been very complimentary about everything going on, and I think it's because they see that, you know, the mindsets, we have an open mind that they're here to help. It's not a gotcha thing, you know, and we need to use all the resources we can, so. And they've talked very highly of the admin and the staff at both campuses. Okay. Up next, we'll move on to the finance report. If there's any questions, Tina will. I'm just joking. Worst thing Tina could do is tell me that she doesn't like talking at a board meeting, so.
Worst thing you could do is tell her you wanna change banks. Isn't that right?
She would think it's in her, she would be upset.
I'm gonna store that away, thanks, Steve.
I do, you better keep that in mind.
I was gonna say, if the first is coming.
I'm in a great mood, I'll use that, so.
I'll make a motion.
Motion to approve, second. Nick, all in favor?
And then to our action items, and the first up, number A, is Mr. Nichols and the Second Chance Program.
Does everybody has a copy of this? All the board members are familiar with the Second Chance Program, except maybe Jamie, and I hope you've had a chance to read about this. In education, and I'll talk about secondary education, there's always a tension between grace and truth is what I call it, which means you gotta give them the truth and you gotta help students understand that there are consequences to their actions. And I give consequences, and I don't, students don't come to my office in trouble and get a sucker and sent back to class. That's not how it works. We give consequences. There has to be accountability in order for students to learn. On the grace side of it, we can't help kids if they're not here. And when we send them home, well, they're on their own. And so we want to do everything we can to keep them here and keep them accountable, understanding that one bad decision when you're young doesn't set you on a downward trajectory for the rest of your life, because believe me, that can happen. And I could even tell you about a couple of students we had expelled last year who are struggling to get their credits and get caught back up. It could be they don't graduate. So we don't want that as much as possible. And sometimes we have to expel, and we can't let them come back, but we want to give them every opportunity to be here and let teachers do their thing, which is teach them, hold them accountable, and help them be better. So that's what the Second Chance program is all about, and you can see it's really laid out the same as it was with what you saw previously. We've cleaned up a few things on there. There are a number of things they have to do, they have to comply with. It's not an easy thing. And somebody asked me the question, what happens to these kids if they get in trouble again? Well, we have a point system. And if you reach 50 points, if you look on page 6, I believe, we have a little score sheet. It tells you what everything is worth, and when they get to 50 points, then they're out. And the idea is they have to go home. So it's not like they just get a free pass. I don't want anybody to think that, but that's the purpose in it. And you can't have been in a lot of trouble and get into it. You see right there at the top of page 1, you have to meet those guidelines for not being in trouble for the previous 2 years. 10 or few days out of school suspension for the previous 2 years, 10 or few days ISS for the previous 1 year. So I'll entertain any questions you might have on that.
I like this because it promotes accountability and makes them work through and still lets them be in school where they need to be learning and hopefully on the path to be successful.
The students that may earn positive points for excellent performance, so if they've got 20 points, they can have points reduced, is that what that means?
I'll tell you honestly, we haven't had to deal with that
Okay.
issue.
Okay.
So, that's a great question.
Like, what does that mean? Just because they may earn positive points, I'm like, okay, take them away.
I think that there are always gonna be some play in anything like this. You don't consider every single aspect, but when they meet with Belinda Stafford is the person who holds them accountable. If you know Belinda, she is the best person in the world for this. She'll get to know them and she'll keep them on the right track if it's possible at all. And so I think we've had a very high success rate for those we've placed in it. So I feel really good about it.
And also, before we forget to mention, remember, I know that there'd been the idea of the program before, and then I kind of was alarmed when I couldn't find it anywhere. And so Paula did a great job. Her and Mike worked together, reformatted everything, and then we sent it to the attorneys to get it vetted to make sure it was legal and what steps we needed to take. And because it wasn't in the handbook or anything, so if we had done that before, with it not being in there, I don't know the legalities of that, you know what I mean? But they, after they reviewed it all, came back with us and said, hey, you're good to go, here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that the board is good with it, they approve it, and then we do an addendum to the handbook, because that has to be in there for, you know, you can't just say, well, we've got this program and it's not anywhere, nor do we know what steps that we're gonna take. And so then we'll do an addendum and add it to the handbook, so.
And I did share a view-only doc with you just tonight with that in our handbook, if you accept that proposal.
All in favor?
And now the salary schedules, first up certified, Matt.
Alright, y'all see that in your folders? Just make sure that the certified salary schedule, I'll let you get there before.
Yep, it's the next page.
Everybody got it?
Yes.
Okay. So first off, I wanna say, talk about why we're even looking at changing the salary schedule. Obviously, the salary schedule that we have currently, when you look at it on the website, it is hard to understand where you would be placed if you're a teacher coming into our district. It's levels, and sometimes that can be a little misleading. Somebody with 13 years experience looks at level 13 and thinks that's what they're gonna make, when in reality, they come in at about level 8. Because it's all based on the 2023 salary schedule, where they were at then and at that time, because when LEARNS came out, that was the idea, to lock everybody in for 2 years and see what legislation says the next time they come back, and make sure that they're gonna fund those, that additional pay again. And so we did lock everybody in with the intent to, after those 2 years, we'll figure out a way for everybody to move from one level to the next and create a new salary schedule. So we're a little behind on that, and no fault of anybody's. That's what happens when you have superintendents coming in and out, and you know, if I was in Jay's shoes, I wouldn't have wanted to change anything for this year either, coming in and not knowing where anything's at. So but we wanted to make sure that we had something that was readable, and I've met with PPC several times, and they've given me a bunch of feedback on this, and you know, we talked about, we used to have, in 2023, we had a bachelor's lane, a bachelor's plus 12, bachelor's plus 24, master's plus 15, plus 30. So we wanted to take some of that stuff out, because we had people in those lanes that had gotten plus 24 but never finished their degree to get their master's. And so we took all of those out and just narrowed it down to bachelor's, master's, specialist, and doctorate. So you have to finish the degree to get that. And so building that back into a salary schedule from where we're at currently, it creates some discrepancies in individuals. So some people, if this is approved, some people will get raises, some people will not. But nobody will lose money. We put a blurb in here at the bottom that basically says, if where you land on the salary schedule is less than what you're currently making in the 25-26 salary, then that salary will be sustained until you fall into the salary schedule. Now, there are 14 people that are 30 plus, 40 plus years that will not fall on the salary schedule. So their salary will be locked in until they're out of here. And so there are some people that won't ever fall back into this salary schedule. But for the most part, 14 out of 189 teachers that we have are the only ones that won't ever fall back onto the salary schedule. Everybody else will eventually fall back onto the salary schedule and get a raise.
But, and I like it, for, when you're at 30 years in most districts,
You're not
you're not
getting any more
gonna,
anyway.
that tops it out anyway, so that's not just here.
Correct, yeah. So, another thing that, like, when I was working on this, like, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't thinking about specific people. I just wanted to make sure that we are comparable to districts our size and districts around us. Obviously, I can't look at Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville, Rogers, the big five. Because they have a higher tax base, they're able to pay higher than we are. But I did look at schools, our enrollment size, schools within our co-op region, found the averages for those schools and made sure that we are comparable in every area. So one area, and I've pointed this out to several of the board members already individually, but one area that we looked at those averages was bachelor's and 0 years, and there are some that pay a little bit more than 50,000, but the average is 50,200. And then bachelor's at 15 years, we're above the average. Masters at 15 years, we're like $200 below the average. But our top end in all of those is quite a bit above the average. And that's another thing that PPC had mentioned. They want to make sure that we're honoring our veteran teachers as much as we can. So the step increases in that salary schedule get higher and higher as you go down or as you go up in years, I guess. So, you know, those increases from 25 to 30 are much larger than the increases at 10 to 11 years, so. And we did back the step increase back up to year 6, you would get a step increase. Before that we went to 10 years before you get a step increase. So we did back that up a little bit so some of our newer teachers can start getting raises as well. But we are more focused on those more veteran teachers getting a higher bump later on. Trying to think if there's anything else on that. What questions do you have about that portion of it before I move on from there?
How do you ladies feel about it? I mean, I know it's like not a big raise or anything, but as far as you know how messed up it was, how we had to start somewhere, do you feel this is a good start?
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of thought and work went into this, and a lot of conversations were had, a lot of hard conversations. I am one of the teachers who will not see a raise in it for several more years. But our salaries, we can read this. Teachers are gonna know coming into our district what we're gonna offer them. It's not confusing, it does put appreciation on teachers who stay in the business, because we're seeing more and more teachers leave early, so.
So Bailey brought up a good point, so some of the teachers have been locked in at their years of experience from 2023. So when they come back on this salary schedule, they will come back on with their actual years of experience. So they're getting credit for the years of experience that they have up to this point, so they're getting placed back in where they should be.
So that'll give them a little more bump too.
Potentially, yeah. So some of the ones that you'll see that may not get a raise this upcoming school year are some of those bachelor's plus 15, bachelor's plus 24, the master's plus 15. Those people that had plus something got bumped back to just that bachelor's lane, so they did lose a little bit coming back that way, but they're not actually, I shouldn't have said it that way.
Not losing money.
But they're not losing money next school year, they're grandfathered in to what they are currently making. Make that clear for sure.
But at least we look up and up now, you know, we look like we're not trying to hide something. As some people have commented on with that last salary schedule, because nobody can understand it.
It was like the
And
mystery.
people who created it probably couldn't understand it.
Right.
And so even though they were thinking, you know, hey, Huntsville's hiring, let's see what they pay, oh, nice, and then they find out that it's not anywhere near where they were thinking. So this does kind of help some of that. And so it's like, you know, positivity coming in instead of going the other direction.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Yeah.
Down here at the bottom on the mileage reimbursement, that I think went up to 52 cents for this year.
You'll
For
have
this next year.
to, since this all went out, you'll have to make a motion.
Okay, so but that's just something we can make a motion after.
Yeah.
Let's see what else needs to, if there's anything.
Yeah, Connie had brought that up to me and we did look at it, and the state pays 52 cents. There's some other school districts that pay 52 cents. I couldn't find anything in rules or law that says we have to pay what the state pays, but you know, we wanna be comparable to everybody around us for sure, so. Okay, moving to the additional duty salary schedule, unless you have more questions on that. Oh, one thing, the biggest thing I should have mentioned before we move from that. So the total cost to the district for that salary schedule that we just talked about is $87,000 additional dollars. We do have, I've got another number of people that are grandfathered in, but additional dollars for next school year would be $87,032 for the district. That's that's if nobody leaves, zero turnover, and everything stays exactly as it is, which is what's gonna happen, right?
Hopeful thinking.
Yeah. Okay, so,
I know.
additional duty salary schedule. So we have our, coaches on here. One thing that comes up a lot is our coaches don't feel like they get paid for both sports. Now, the amount that they get paid may be comparable to what other schools pay for 2 sports, but we wanted to make it clear, here's how much you're getting for this sport, here's how much you're getting for this sport. So as you can see, it's an index, and so what they would do if I'm coaching 2 sports, say I'm 7th grade head football coach and I'm coaching assistant wrestling. I would take that 7th grade head football coach, which is .095, and I would add that to the .024, and that would give me my index. And so, multiply that by the base salary, they'd find themselves on the salary schedule we just looked at. Multiply that number by that, and that will give them their salary. So they can see clearly that here's how much I'm getting paid for that sport, here's how much I'm getting paid for that sport. So that's the left side of that. The column on the left side, the right side is flat rate stipends. So some of our people that were plus 15, plus 24, plus 12, whatever, some of those people had went back to school and got like an ESOL endorsement or a SPED certification or GT certification. And so those are all things that we still want to be able to honor those people for if they're using them within the district. And so we did put those things in here. You see the GT certification, the SPED, the ESOL, and the concurrent credit. So those are in there, and the numbers, the rate on those are based on the amount of hours that it takes to get that certification. So if it's 12 hours, it's $1,200. If it's 18 hours, it's $1,800. And concurrent credit obviously is another one that we wanted to make sure that we are honoring people for going back and getting, because one of our goals here is to make sure that we're able to graduate kids with an associate's degree. And in order to do that, we may need some people to go back and get some schooling to be able to do concurrent credit. We also have some coordinators on here. The wellness coordinator, district ALE coordinator, Bright Futures, ESOL and GT. Bright Futures and our ALE coordinator, both of those were already on the salary schedule. The others are additions. And those people meet with kids and oversee a program. The parental involvement facilitator, that was already on our salary schedule. National Board Certification Master Lead Professional Educator was also already on the salary schedule. Title IX, hosting a pre-service educator and then a mentor teacher. So thank you to PPC on the pre-service educator. We talked about that and we wanted to make that clear that that's, because I think it said hosting an intern and that gets a little messy sometimes. So we wanted to make sure that it's pre-service educator on there, so. There's more on there. I don't wanna bore you by going through all of them. Do you have questions about any of the rest of that? Go ahead, Connie.
How many national board certified teachers do we still have that are, because most of them probably are not re-signing up because it's too hard to, you don't get anything for it and costs money, so how many do we even have left?
I couldn't give you a number, but I would say it's pretty minimal of the people that are going through that currently.
And that 2,000 is just for that first year when you get it, right?
Once you have your
It's a one-time.
certification, one time, you get that
So
2,000.
basically, that's not gonna probably ever happen anymore
Right.
on that one.
So we had it on the salary schedule as 500 per year, up to 4 years. And since we don't have very many people going through that anymore, my thought was just 2,000 when they finish it and be done with it, so.
And then master or lead, does the state give us money for that now? Because they're just requiring it.
No, we have to have, we have to have those people for, our 3rd grade promotion, is one reason we need master and lead teachers. So if a kid has moved forward because of a good cause exemption, they need to be placed with a highly qualified teacher or a master or lead teacher. And then also for mentoring, pre-service educators, we need master and lead teachers.
But the state isn't providing any funding for that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Feel good about it? We didn't differentiate on the class sponsors. Before there was differentiation between Huntsville High School and St. Paul, and so we didn't differentiate on this one, so they're all the same.
And then we added the graduation coordinator,
Oh, yes,
which
thank
I
you for
think
pointing that out.
is super important.
Yeah, we did add a graduation coordinator just so we can pay that person to coordinate graduation, and that'll be up to our high school principals to determine who that is and if it's necessary. You good there?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so moving on, the last piece of this is the administrative salary schedule. So again, I wanna talk just a little bit about where it was and where we're going with it, or where we're potentially going with it. So the administrative salaries were all set based on the person that was in that position. And so that person in several of those positions is no longer with us. And so some of those were higher because the person we had a lot of years of experience, and some of them are a little bit lower because the person we had didn't have a lot of years of experience. And so they were kind of all over the place. And so my goal was to look at the average salaries for schools our size, our enrollment size, and schools in our co-op region minus the big five, and make sure that we're comparable. And so all of these, this is, when you max these out, so if you look at the indexes in the right-hand column, it maxes out at 17 years. So you can't read this straight across. The indexes are based on the years of experience. So like for myself, I have 12 years of experience. So I would find myself on the base salary, and then I would multiply by 1.12, and that would give me my salary. And so when these are maxed out at 17 years, they're all just below, except for one is just barely above the average. The rest of them are just below the average for our region, which pretty much all of our administrators, I think Tammy and I are the only, because Tammy and I graduated together, we're the only ones that wouldn't be maxed out on this. So everybody in the district, if they were placed on this salary schedule today, would be just below the average for our enrollment size. And so we talked about that with the discrepancies in the way the salary schedules are currently, because some are really high, some are really low, so they're kind of all over the place. This creates a situation where some people would be getting a significant raise if we immediately put them on this salary schedule, and we don't want to do that, because we know that would be a huge culture killer to our school district. And so thank you to when Connie and I met individually, we talked about this, and Jamie, when you and I met individually, we talked about this. We want to do this in increments. For anybody that's getting more than a $3,000 raise, we want to give them that $3,000 next year, and then we'll do that in increments until they are at the salary schedule. And that first year will take care of most of them. But after that, there will still be a few that need to get another raise to get up to that salary schedule. Now, where that creates some issues potentially is if we hire somebody into the district, we're going to hire them using this salary schedule, and so they could potentially be making more than somebody else that hasn't gotten to that point yet.
And that's the hard thing about this, because you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that people are willing to wait and get it. But at the same time, remembering when they reach that, it'll still be the average for our area. So
Yes.
they'll be making under. Matt, what's the total that'll
So,
fund that this year?
so the administrative salary alone with the 3,000 extra would be 25,842. The coaching additional is 8,188. And then the,
Already gave us another one, 87,000.
and then, yeah, 87,000 on the teacher salary schedule. What's the total on that, babe? What'd you say, 113?
Are you,
Gonna check it,
how's PPC feeling about that? That they're
121.06.
that there'll be at the average, but if we're not putting a whole bunch in on that one, where we're not putting a whole bunch in on the other one at the same time.
We were pleased when the $3,000 increment came back. Because like you said, that's definitely a culture killer, you know, like even myself, I'm not gonna have one for quite a while. And then to know someone is giving.
Yeah.
So no, that was definitely a boost. And I think after that happened, we didn't really have much more
Right,
questioning. It was like, okay, we can live with that, so.
Yeah.
Cause we wanna be fair to everybody, but
Yeah.
we also wanna be fiscally responsible too, so.
I will say, just a huge shout out to the PPC, to you all as board members, as I've met with you individually. Just thank you for all the feedback, because I really feel like it's been a very collaborative effort to put this together and have something that looks, when somebody is looking at Huntsville School District to come and work here, they can look at our salary schedule and go, oh, okay, it not only is easy to read, but it is comparable to the people around us, and we're not gonna lose people because our salary schedule isn't right. So, thank you to everybody that's helped with it.
Well, thank you for all the work that you did.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you know, this is like,
Glad to do it,
Being patient with us.
Yeah, happy to do it.
so we're gonna both classified, certified, or we do certified first?
Well, I mean, since they're different items on the agenda, I would do it one at a time for a vote, so that way it's recorded that way.
So do we need to make a motion that we
To amend.
come in?
Paula, do you know the wording she needs to do to make it official?
I think that you will, if I'm following Robert's rules right here, I think you vote on the amendment first, and then you vote on the salary schedule.
Okay, I make a motion to amend the 50 cents per mile to 52 cents per mile.
Can I get a second? Natalie, all in favor? So that's been amended to 52 cents per mile.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions or before we approve the salary schedule? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion to approve the salary schedule with the amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule.
All in favor?
Tina,
Yes.
And next, item 2 is Bailey with the classified.
Alright, so we didn't have quite as drastic changes to ours this year, but I say any progress is progress, and so it's a step in the right direction. So to start for this year, you know, Jay had met with me and our CPBC, and he kind of gave us 3 parameters or goals to work towards on this first year, and that was, you know, 1, we need to make sure that every position is above the national poverty level for a single-family household, which it is. That amount is $15,960. Now, some of our bases are a little lower than that, but when you look at the hourly rate of that they are higher than that. So, because like our food service and our bus drivers are figured on a 5-hour day, a 6-hour day. So when we looked at the hourly rate, we were above that. The second was, you know, trying to make positive changes with our bus driver routes. And so, you know, if you're a bus driver that's been here 20 years and you're driving the longest route, you know, that makes you feel great when you get a brand new bus driver in that's driving a 10-mile route, you know. So that was something we had worked on, and our initial approach to that was to try to do a percentage, or sorry, a per so many cents per mile. And we'd worked with Harry and he had worked with the bus drivers and getting feedback, and if we did that, we were going to potentially have issues where drivers were gonna be making less next year than they would this year, because, the only fair way to leave it up to them is, drivers that have seniority get first choice on which route they want. And so, so that was gonna not be the solution we were necessarily looking for when we got driver feedback. And I will say like that, to me, that's an area to show off on the culture of our district. And like, we had drivers that potentially would be making more, but they did not feel right taking that route from another driver. So I really appreciate that. So anyways, when we went back to the drawing board, we had come up with a solution where no driver will lose money. So everyone will make at least what they make now. And so that was by creating a short route, a medium route, a long route, an extra long route. So the short route is basically that pay lane starting at $12,350 is what our current salary schedule is now for our bus drivers. And then we created 3 more lanes. So short route is anything less than 30 miles, a medium route is 30 to 64 miles, long route is 65 to 84, and then extra long is 85 and over. And so we added 500. Round trip, thank you, from the bus shop. And there was a $500 difference between each of those. So if you're gonna be one of the 5 that have an extra long route, you'd be making about $1,500 more next year. And so when we looked at it, we currently have 4 that would qualify in the short route, so their salary would stay the same. We have 15 that would qualify in the medium route, 11 in the long, and then 5 in the extra long. Because when you look at our shortest route, which I think it was just 16 miles, and then our longest one, which is 108 miles, there's definitely some discrepancy there. So we definitely want to try to appreciate that, and Harry, feel free to speak up if you had any different feedback from your drivers, but they were all for this. The main goal here, the main feedback we got from the drivers is no one wanted to see anyone lose money. And this is a way for those that live on their route, because it just makes sense for them to, and they drive their bus home, they'll still keep that route, and so overall, this just was the best fit for us. And so, and then we also, based on feedback from the board and our own CPPC, we did add a stipend for a rail support specialist. If you saw Ms. Scarlett here tonight, we have a one-on-one aide that works with her. And so that would be the other addition to the classified salary schedule. And then we will need to make an amendment to the mileage, because that was also 50 on ours as well. So overall, based on this, the changes we propose tonight, assuming every position stays as it is, it would add around $45,942 next year.
Do we have a consideration for like when they drive field trips,
Yeah, that's
band?
Yeah, that's a separate, like they have an hourly timesheet that they keep track of for that,
Okay,
so
they do
this is just for their route
get
pay,
extra. Okay.
yes.
And where is, Kara's, where did you?
It should be under the para, lane, so it should be the 3rd or 4th.
Right under head.
Instructional facilitators.
Ah, yeah.
Did you look into where this puts us with other districts as far as bus drivers go?
Yeah, we did, we're competitive, and it just depends on how you measure it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know Harry has a hard time getting drivers
Yeah.
sometimes, so we at least wanna be competitive.
I think everywhere does.
Yeah.
Is there anybody here from the CPPC?
No, but we met with them, and then I also, I serve on the CPPC, and then I let them know that we were.
How do like our paras and all, did you look at all of those? Are those very competitive, or for schools, our area, and for the, like?
So, yeah, so the parameters we were given was those 3 that I mentioned, so that was not, the guidance we had for this year was we're just we're trying to meet these three things. I'm sorry, I think the third one was keep salaries as close to as they are now. So that.
So that, when you say that, not because you don't wanna pay them, it's
No,
so that
no,
nobody will lose money.
yes, no one loses
Not-
money. Yeah, and so we're, like I said, this, we obviously want to do more, and this is just our starting point for that, and worked within the goals that we'd set for this year's salary schedule for classified.
And I appreciate all the work that went into this, cause I know this is a big problem too, but now we have a starting point, and now we know what we have to, 45,000 is added on this, now we have a number, and now we can start in the future as hopefully start looking to maybe increase that. And we're really sorry, I say this this is the fourth year I've said, I am sorry, people, the classified people are dear to my heart, and I appreciate what you do for what we pay you, cause like what Misty Comer, they talked about what she does and all of them, so we are hoping now that now we can go forward from here, cause we've got a starting place that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really struggled with us is just, again, Jason, my ninth superintendent in 15 years and 7 in the last 10, and so it's just, I think with him here and his goals for us, I think we're definitely gonna be able to see making additional changes next year. I definitely don't fault him for wanting to commit a lot more money, his first year here without even being here for a whole year. And he's done a great job relaying that he's met with our CPPC when we went over this, and I don't think anyone's in disagreement that we want to and hope to aim to keep paying them more. This is just what we felt like we could do for this first year.
And I'll add this too, and finish up, because I didn't want to leave it out, I wanted to say publicly how much I thank both of those guys for all the work that they've done. And y'all, it's sometimes very difficult because there starts involving math problems, and you gotta make sure by law you can't deduct anybody's pay, and it just problem after problem of trying to figure those things out. But the amount of hours and work and effort they put into these two things, just so we have a solid foundation, like Connie said, is incredible, and I wanted to thank them publicly, both of them, for all their hard work, and we're getting there. Man, they did a great job.
Appreciate that.
And I appreciate Matt, saying, hey, would you look at it too? So that there's more eyes on it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I apologize to those of you that I didn't get to meet with, and, I know our schedules didn't line up.
It's about as much my fault as it was yours on my part, but I have many irons in the fire.
Well, I make a motion to make an amendment to raise that to 52 cents on the classified.
I second that. Second, Natalie, all in favor? Well, if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to approve the classified salary schedule. Natalie?
Matt gets to talk a lot tonight.
Oh, I forgot I was doing that.
Next up is item C, our master plan public hearing, which can be included in a regular board meeting. So I just want to let everybody know that you don't have to have a separate meeting and hearing. And we did not have anybody sign up for communications. Correct?
Correct.
For that? Okay. So we'll let Matt talk a little bit, and I might chime in.
Well, I think we just offer them, for this, we offer them the opportunity right now for comments or questions.
Okay, well, if there is, then we need to make sure that it's documented, because that's what we have to turn in also, so.
Does anybody have a question or comment about the master plan resolutions?
So I do wanna say, we sat down, Blaine, Jay, and I sat down with Dr. Sine at the beginning of the year, or somewhere closer to the beginning of the year, and just went through our systems ratings. So, Blaine's pretty familiar with the systems ratings, he'll update them again this year. But we look at those based on lifespan, and that was one thing that I learned when Jonathan was here, is we were rating things on functionality. And yes, it's functioning well and it's working well, and Dr. Stein opened our eyes to, that's not how you rate them. You should be rating your systems based on the lifespan. And a lot of our buildings, primary, for example, on some of the middle school campus, I mean, they're well past their lifespan. Thank goodness, they've held up and we've been able to use them for this long. But we've started doing all of our systems ratings based on lifespan, and so we really took a deep look at that. And one of the main things that came up in that is replacing our fire alarm system and HVAC electrical at primary. And so we did add that to our master plan. You'll see that on that first page there. And then replace the intermediate school roof. We already had that in plans. We've already applied for partnership funding. We've been approved for partnership funding. We should know exactly how much that is in May. And then St. Paul Middle School roof, same. We've been approved and should know how much that is in May. We would like to replace the middle school roofs. We did apply for partnership funding and got denied on that one because we didn't have enough data to show that we needed that, and that was our mistake because we just weren't putting in the work orders, and because it's needed and the data was there, we just didn't have the work orders to prove it. So we've worked on fixing that. We do have the data now, so we will apply again for partnership funding for that, and hopefully be able to replace that middle school roof. I know Ms. Bollinger up there would be very pleased with that because the library seems to be the worst place on that campus, so. And then, so we've had the new high school, Huntsville High School on there. We've kind of talked about that. We did apply for partnership funding for that. We did get approved for partnership funding for that. I'm gonna let Jay speak a little more on that in just a second, but we bumped that back to 2031. It was originally 2027, we bumped it back to 2031, and I don't know, you wanna speak on that a little more?
So we had to make the decision of being prudent and transparent to the public. And, with that, when it was applied for, we did get granted the 10 million, but we don't have the 30 million for our part. And so, it would have caused a lot of problems, I think, with the community, of them thinking that we're gonna build this high school and start on it, cause we got 10 million, when we don't have our 30 million, and then have to return the money, because it's illegal if you take that and start spending it, and you don't have your portion of that. And so, we were transparent with the department and told them that we'll reapply for that once we have an idea and a plan on how we're gonna come up with at least our 30 million, which I thought that 40 million, y'all, doesn't build much these days. So I felt like that was the ethical thing to do, and Dr. Stein agreed and applauded us for doing that. That doesn't mean that we can't apply for it again in the future once we have a plan for our portion of it. And I just felt like that was the honorable thing to do for us, so. And we had that by a deadline that we didn't have a board meeting, and plus on that part of it, they didn't require a board vote on that to let them keep their money instead of us accepting it, okay, so.
Yeah, and there's nothing saying that if it gets closer to that date and we feel like we need to back it up again, we can back it up again. We just didn't wanna take it off there completely, leave it as a goal that at some point we will need to, there's some buildings that will need to come down and we'll need to build a new facility at some point, so. And then the last thing's on there, the district energy conservation program, so Everything is finished, the construction part of everything is finished on that project. We have had some issues with Carroll Electric and integrity and just trying to get everything finalized on that. They came out for a witness test and Carroll Electric didn't like something that they had on their system, and so they've been back and forth, and so the solar arrays that we have not been energized, and so that is the last piece that we're waiting on, and it's a piece of frustration right now, because
Cause we were already supposed to be getting returns on
we
that.
should have been getting a lot of returns on that. So we're continuing to work with them and try to figure things out, but it's definitely a frustration for us.
In that contract with them, is there like if the deadline wasn't met, do we get any kind of?
We're looking into some of that and just, but,
Because, I mean.
Yeah.
So,
We put out our money towards the stuff, so.
so basically, we paid our portion and the goods haven't been delivered on that portion. So of course, that gets into legal ramifications. And so I feel it's prudent on our end to turn that over to attorney to get advice on where we go from there.
Yeah. And then the last thing, the indoor practice facility, very thankful for where that's at. They do still have a few things.
They have power?
Yeah, everything,
Okay.
so everything is
Finally.
good in there, like we've been able to practice in there and, but they've still got, like, they gotta put the lettering up on the outside of it. They're polishing the floors Friday.
Okay.
So just
Seeding the
minor
fields,
things.
cause that's not, they
Say
haven't
again?
seeded the fields yet, have they?
They did seed the fields, but they're gonna reseed them. Yeah, they seeded them before all of this weather came through. So, yeah, they're gonna reseed them.
And we got a projection date on when we're gonna have the fields ready to use?
So I hesitated because they will be ready to be practiced on in the spring, but they won't be ready for games until we do a lot more work to them. We still need dugouts and bleachers and, you know, that would require some funds. So as of right now, they will be ready to be practiced on this spring, and then we'll still continue to play games at Mitchison until all of that is finished out.
I think the baseball facility is great, and I think that our facilities being upgraded will be huge in attracting people to our district. So I would like to see us make that a priority.
Amen to that.
Well, speaking on baseball, I'd like,
Any benefits from it, so.
speaking on baseball, I'd like to ask you what your future plans are. Since Bruce isn't here to tell me. For our field at St. Paul, I understand that it's just a financial issue for sure. Anything from the grounds to the lights. I have people willing to donate financial, whether it's money or whether it's equipment. I'm serious when I say this. I was approached again last night at the ball game. But when I'm asked, I'm just really disappointed in answers. I'd like to hear from you, Matt, what you're hearing or think.
So I mean, the first thing that we had talked about last year was the fencing. And that is still on the list of things to do is replace the fencing around that. Beyond that, I don't have any plans. And that'll be up to you all from that point forward.
I just know a lot of parents are, in their plans, are wanting their kids to play baseball.
Yeah.
And softball.
Yeah.
But mainly on the baseball issue, it just seems like it's really a sore subject over right now about the way our ball field is.
Yeah.
I know it don't sit well with me.
Yeah, I understand that completely. You know, obviously, we're starting a baseball team for the high school this year down there. And we wanna see that that's sustainable and that we have kids coming through doing that.
That is gonna sustain.
Yeah, and so once that is somewhat sustainable, I feel like it would be an easy thing to add money into the program.
It's to my knowledge that we are playing, the people in our conference, but we're playing them at their place.
At their place.
Right, so we're gonna, from what I understand, we're gonna make sure that it's rolling and everything's well, and then we're gonna start revamping some things, cause like Bruce and I had spoken about, we gotta have a bathroom, a public bathroom, we don't have a public bathroom. And we're not letting people in our school, outside community, no, go into our buildings, and we're gonna have, so yes, it's just gonna get the train rolling.
I'd like to see the train get rolling as soon as possible.
Growth takes time, for sure.
On that,
Yes, sir.
has anybody approached the city about that? Cause you know, that's the only way we've been able to have a program in Huntsville until forever. It will even still, we're depending upon sharing with the city until we get that
Okay.
finished. So what do they say?
Okay, that, y'all know I'm not much of a talker, I'm more of a listener. But that's another issue, I'm gonna jump right off the baseball to another one now that I've got a little box. St. Paul has a passing zone through our school. The state says it's a city issue. And I brought it up, and at the next city meeting, I'm gonna try and get it where we can at least speak with the city to have that corrected. You don't need a passing zone through St. Paul's
The
school.
speed limit's like
There's not another one in the
30
state
anyway,
that I
when
know
you
of.
pass it, yeah.
Yeah, but I live there now, right straight across from the school. I recently moved there. We got fine deputies doing all they can when they're there, but I'll promise you, we need a crosswalk from going to the post office. Every day there's anything from teachers to students coming across to the post office. And there's no crosswalk. And to slow down on that traffic, I'd like to see at least on each end of the school before they're entering our area, to have maybe some ripples. Because anytime you think I'm blowing smoke here, just come over and visit me for a little bit in the mornings.
Yeah.
Everyone's heading to work, everyone's in a hurry, and I'm really surprised something bad's not happened already. Just moving back there, I lived there 35 years ago, didn't pay no attention to it. But now, when you're out there and you're hearing the kids screaming, you're hoping it's just on the playground, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we need to get that,
Is
really,
that, you
that's
said
top
that's,
priority to me over the baseball field, is that passing zone
Yeah.
through the school.
you said that's, the state said
The
that's
state
city.
says that's a city issue, and I plan on trying to be on the next meeting. I need to find out before I go to bed tonight when that is, and I will be there.
I don't know how it'd be a city
Because
issue
they
on a
made us
state
go
highway.
to state.
That's still
So I
what
know-
they're telling me.
Like this, we had this crosswalk up here that Mayor Dotson's worked on for 2 years to get just some flashing signs up to slow people down on this crosswalk. And it's a state highway, and so I know it's, when it is a state highway, I know it's a long process to be able to get stuff changed on it, but I agree with you.
I'm
It
ready to
needs to
start
be done.
fighting for it.
Yep. Yep, I
Mayor
agree
Johnson
with you.
may be a good source for you, to be able to.
For some input,
so we
yeah.
can see the
Get you on the
process
right
that
track
needs
where
to-
you need to get hold of people.
Since he's dealt with them. Natalie, is there like a parents baseball organization, like there's a,
So that's also been in the talks, and I've talked to a couple of people, they've asked me, I'm overloaded, I'm on the board, y'all got this, but there is a couple of parents who are like, we've gotta get something rolling, and it's also been in the back of my mind, like what's the fundraising look like, we're playing, I mean, it's February, we're supposed to be playing in how long, I don't know if we have jerseys or anything. So I have a couple people who are wanting to step up and kinda do that, they don't know exactly how to, so. The
well, I'm
answer
just
is I
thinking if
don't
you
know.
could get them to go to the city and say, hey, can you,
So my question with
Help us
that
out
on the
with the
city
ball,
is, we own that property, right? It wouldn't be a city issue to put bathrooms on that property. So from what Jonathan told me, whenever I got on the board and this all started with the baseball program, he looked it up and we own that property, right?
We do own that property where the
Okay.
baseball field is at. Now, there's a park that has a softball field, right?
Well,
Is that-
it's not a
Okay, I
softball
have
field, it
never
used
drove
to
up
be, they have revamped it, actually, I'm very impressed. They have a actual cement sidewalk you walk, they put a couple new pieces of, playground equipment in. It could, I don't know if it's big enough, I mean, I think it could be a softball field if the city.
Yeah, we've tried it past years ago. All you're doing is losing the balls from the heavy hitters. You'll never see the ball again. I mean, it's just not.
It's up there in the woods. I was a deputy. I used to find a lot of people up there that need to be up there now.
Are there any grants that could be applied for something like that?
So I did look into some grants, but they were very minimal. Like the amount that you would get from them was very minimal.
The MLB has one, but it's a matching grant,
Mhm.
so they're only gonna give you what you can raise yourself to.
Again, on the baseball, off the city street, now back to the baseball field. Last night I was approached by money saying, I wanna help this program.
Get a
I was about to
booster-
say,
you need to get a
that's
booster club started, that way you don't have to run through the schools, bank account.
We need to get something started over.
That way you
Hey,
can report what you make.
I think I speak for all of us when, if there's people that are willing to do stuff like that, like, let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's talk about the plans that they've got.
To where they, they ain't gonna throw no money out there until you got your plan. If you got a plan, you can show them on writing, here's what we need.
Yeah.
Another issue was the lights, being a holdback, a big expense, are the lights really necessary for the daytime baseball game?
They go pretty late. I know up here, they start at 4 o'clock and we're not over till 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, by the end of it, you need
We,
to.
yeah, we went down this rabbit hole even with Pee Wee baseball. That's kind of where this all started and I got involved with it. My husband works for Ozarks Electric and we actually talked to one of the big wigs at Ozarks and they would actually be willing to fund some of the lighting situation. We need an active baseball team
We
playing
just
down
need to
there.
get a
That's their
plan
problem.
started somehow over there for the kids.
But Bruce is doing it. He's getting us a baseball team. He says he's doing it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So Bobby, if you will, like we talked about, if you'll let me know when that city meeting
Yes,
is,
sir.
I'd like to be there, so.
Yeah, I'd love for you to be there with me.
So do we need to
We're to the
approve the
resolution.
okay. So, can I get a motion to approve the 6-year master plan?
I'll make a motion.
Second by Steve, all in favor?
All right, information, we're at the academic report.
That's us. Go. All right, so I have Judy, our IF, with me. She's my partner in crime. Oh my God, baby.
The clicker's right.
Hang on, there.
Make
All
sure you
right,
turn it
where's
on.
the clicker?
They got a new clicker.
Turn it on the left. There's a little slider there.
Okay. And then what do I do? Hit the middle button?
Click the arrow.
What, Bailey, we're both clicking, okay. Here we go. Alright, so at HIS, our focus is students and data driven. We work hard to identify our students' strengths and needs, and then we maximize, protect that core time, build in those intervention times. And then we're still working with teachers on our gradual release of responsibilities. Kids all day will want you to do it for them if you are willing to do so. So we work on like, you need to practice this and do it independently. So we're still working on that and students taking ownership of their learning. As far as student focused, we've worked hard on doing like a math IXL leaderboard so they can get awards for that, kind of internal motivation. And then honor roll awards for all A's and then A's and B's. And then we do our quarterly Eagle Rally to recognize those students that achieve well. And then some new programs we implemented this year. Our writing was a little bit weak and that's really hard to teach and it's hard for if students just aren't naturally good writers. So we're supplementing with mystery writing and that's helped tremendously. I feel like we're growing a lot in our writing because of that. And we're really modeling those writings to our kids sitting with them, and some that do not wanna write, we're really pushing, you have got to produce some writing samples and working through that.
So something I learned at y'all's parent night,
Mm-hmm.
they want the third graders to write 5 paragraphs for that test. 5.
Yes.
And restate the problem, but not really restate the problem, and it's graded by AI, so just keep that in mind.
And the problem with that, I'm glad you mentioned that, the problem with the AI is it will kick it out if they say they plagiarize and use the passage. So you have to teach, starting in 3rd grade, how to restate the information, paraphrase it, in your own words, or it gets kicked out and not even scored by AI. So then you just are instantly, grasping for that. So we're working on, okay, now close that, tell us what you just learned, write what you just learned, lots of that kind of stuff. It's intense for, especially 3rd graders. So we're really working on all of that. And then our IXL math, we have to do MIPs, our math improvement plans. So that has given us intervention data, and we're putting them, IXL basically levels the kids for what they need and gives them skills to work on based on their areas of weakness. So daily they do that from 7:45 to 8 o'clock, and then they step in their arena. It's called stepping into the arena, and it gives them scores so we can track if they're growing or not. So we do that daily. Instructional support, so we've talked a little bit about TNTP earlier. They have been phenomenal. We've had state literacy coaches in for a few years now, and I'm very impressed with TNTP. It's been great having the bridge between us and primary. So we've got a lot of good things going there. In addition to that, Judy and I are doing walkthroughs and she's offering support, coaching cycles. I do lots of walkthroughs, weekly observations. We do our weekly PLCs where we have all of our team meet and we look at data. And we've got our target students that don't necessarily are not like on an IEP or ESOL or those kinds of things. So we pick those as our target students to really push and grow, just to try to make that extra gain. And then we do weekly planning meetings, which Judy leads, and they really sit down independently per subject to plan out what all we're doing and kind of close gaps on those holes. And then I'm gonna let Judy talk more about TNTP and what they do.
So, and part of what we do in our planning meeting is we have taken this feedback that we've gotten from TNTP, which honestly has mostly been centered on things we already knew we needed to work on. It's like when you go to the doctor and you're sick, you just need a prescription, we knew. And so we're just kind of like, okay, good, we're headed in the right direction. So they have given us feedback on our phonics program in 3rd grade, because TNTP only works in 3rd grade. They do not work with 4th and 5th. And so we've made some adjustments to how we use UFly in 3rd grade to help it align with the standards better. And Leanne Miller has worked really hard on helping beef that up for us. She has given us extra resources so that the teachers don't have to try to go out and find this stuff and we have to make it all on our own. She's been a great resource on that. Other than that, the feedback from TNTP has focused a lot on student ownership, which we already knew we needed to be working on. So when we're doing our instructional planning, those are the things we're talking about. How can we give students more ownership with this? What do the achievement level descriptors say about the expected rigor in the way that we teach this? What are we expecting students to do? And this has all been really beneficial. On our walks, we've seen some great things happen because we've had those conversations. So we're really excited about those things. We've also gotten a little bit of feedback on, this was the foundational feedback that she had given us. We haven't gotten the feedback on our comprehension piece yet. But we implemented all of the feedback. Leanne gave us some feedback on our PLC time, and we implemented that to make sure that we're putting the focus where it should be on instruction. As far as being data-driven, it was mentioned to me that you know, we just can't handle one more spreadsheet, so we are data driven, okay? We've got lots of information. We take information wherever we can get it from. iExcel, star reading, Atlas, interim, Acadience, spelling inventories, writing samples, and we just kind of compile that so that we can know where we are and know what we need to do. And so as you see on the slide there, we do diagnostics, which is coupled with progress monitoring that we do, well, in some cases every week, every 2 weeks and every month. We're looking at that regularly to see if students are making progress. Our targeted students or focused students that Kayla mentioned earlier, we have special sheets for them where we're compiling all that data and looking at them to make sure that they're making growth. And our students are making growth. We have, for science, we have our common formative assessments. We have our Atlas interims on all of it. We have Atlas interims coming up at the end of this month. That will be the interim 2, and we are really excited to see how we do on those because that's where we can really see how we grew from interim 1 to interim 2. And so we're really excited about getting that data in. All of our other data shows that we're growing, and there's a slide on that as well, which is right here. So this is just kind of a building recap that I didn't break it down by grade for y'all this year. Basically what this shows us is that in literacy, on our STAR Lexile, the building gained 121 Lexile points. And so that is some really positive growth. We gained 17 words correct per minute, and I am really excited about gaining 4% in accuracy building wide. So that was awesome. In our progress monitoring, for reading, 60% of the kids in progress monitoring grew at least 1 level or more. And on all the trajectory is moving in an upward direction. As you can see on the Boy and Moy chart, those 3 lines just show how our literacy's been going, and we're headed in a positive upward trend there. The bottom chart is for math. That chart was generated in iExcel to show how we're working on our math standards. And on the chart on the left in blue, you can see that 47% of our skills for the building have been mastered so far, and this was back in January. So we're about where we should be on that. And as far as their scale score points, we gained an average of 105 points in math. So when we look at those trend lines in math, they're all going up. So everybody, we have lots of growth going on, there's lots of good things happening, and we're excited to see how we're able to do this year. Do you have any questions for us?
I do have a question. Well, a request.
Okay.
As we're gonna start looking and making decisions about how we're gonna move forward, I would like to know from your teachers and I'm not saying we can give any of this, I'm not saying that making promises, but I'd just like to, maybe if they could come up with their 3 top wish list item. Like if they could have this, that would make their life so much easier. And it could be, it doesn't have to be even something cost, like if their request is.
No more Google Sheets.
Yeah, no more
spreadsheets.
It might be no meeting that can't be said in an email.
Yeah.
It could be grouping. Maybe they want just within the grade, do some sort of grouping by whatever that's gonna help move those kids faster than having so many different abilities at the same time. Maybe it's they need 1 more counselor because right now kids have a lot of issues that are being dealt with at school. So, whatever I'm not saying we can get them for them. Maybe they need 1 more parent that can take this group, high or low, whatever, while they work with a different group, that they just don't have enough hands-on. Just a wish list that maybe could help us make some decisions with that, but we can't, I can't make any promise.
I will
But that
tell
we
you
know
this.
what's important to the teachers who are actually there.
Right. Before Christmas, I went around and talked to all my employees. And I just asked them one-on-one, and I kept it in a spreadsheet, but I'm like not sharing all the details. But I'm like, I just want to know, like, in general, what you think our struggles and what our strengths are. So one of the things was a lot of Google Sheets. And so we really prioritize, like, what we're doing with our data and are we using it. So we came back and we're letting it be more teacher-led because it's easy for Judy and I to take over the PLCs, but really teacher-led and what they think they need to talk about. And in addition, we do a planning meeting, well, all the teachers were in on that. So they were like, oh, we feel like that's kind of a waste because we have like a math person that kind of leads a literacy and so forth. So we're trying to do some of those things to be more useful and impactful, but also take a little bit off. So, but I do love that idea.
Yeah, and like I said, at least we may or may not be able to meet
Right.
that need, but it would be nice to know what they are
What it
saying they
is.
really need. Maybe it's more paper, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We can use the paper. So, yeah.
Do you feel like, because I know you guys used to do a math teacher and a reading teacher and they would switch, do you feel like you're getting better results from keeping in one classroom?
So I feel like we definitely are getting better use of, yeah, like the switching and stuff was terrible. That was one of the big reasons we made the switch. Yeah. Wouldn't you agree, Judy?
Yeah, after we went self-contained like that, the discipline referrals about
And
cut
yes, the
in half.
discipline was way less, way less. So I do feel like that's better. Now, the ones that did math and science still just want to do the math and science and beg me. And the ones that do literacy, like, it's a lot because there's just so many more components, so, but I think it's better.
But I will say, like, and we actually ended up talking about this today. Some of the teachers who were hesitant about taking on the literacy absolutely would not want to give it up now. I mean, they love their small group reading and they just love doing it and they love having the kids right there all day long. They feel like they get more done with them because they have them with them. This just overall, it just kind of really has changed sort of just the atmosphere in the classroom because they're with that one teacher and there's a lot of consistency, you know, what the expectations are.
And it's been good routines for kiddos. Miss Siegel has one that if she is not in her room in the morning, this little girl is gonna have a meltdown. Like it's, you know, they just really rely on, that's their person. So I think that's been helpful. Anything else?
Okay, for the executive session.
We're gonna go talk about personnel. We're returning.
No action.
No action is taken.
And so we're on to item 10, personnel approval. And so I'd like to recommend for hires and classified, Charles Derek Parker, kitchen worker at the intermediate school. Transfers, classified, Susanna Bailey from intermediate school kitchen worker to intermediate school kitchen manager. Resignations, certified, Matt Ferguson, assistant superintendent. Ronnie Wade, ALE teacher and football coach. And then resignations for classified, Veronica Bean, special ed paraprofessional at Huntsville Middle School. Christina Bollinger, kitchen worker at Huntsville High School. Hazel Brumley, custodian, primary school. Ted Brumley, custodian at the primary school. Jana Cantrell, pre-K paraprofessional at Watson. Blaine Koger, maintenance director, and Christina Villanueva, special education paraprofessional at Huntsville Intermediate School.
Can I get a recommendation to accept the hires and resignations? By Jamie, second by Nick, all in favor begrudgingly.
And then for one item of new business, because of those changes that happened very quickly, we had to readdress our list for employment recommendations for the administration and directors. And so it's the superintendent's recommendation for employment recommendations with the admin and directors for the 26-27 school year. Paula Harris, assistant superintendent. Bruce Dunlap, St. Paul principal. Mike Nichols, Huntsville High School principal. Tammy Cartmel, Huntsville Middle School principal. Kayla Hawkins, Huntsville Intermediate School principal. Jennifer Roach, Watson Primary School principal. Elizabeth Watkins, Huntsville High School assistant principal. Sarah Dunham, Huntsville Middle School assistant principal. Bailey Cotton, director of safety and technology. Jill Head, director of child nutrition. David Preston, director of athletics. Tanya McCone, director of special ed and student services. Tina Shackelford, district treasurer. Harry Spurlock, director of transportation. And Natasha West, director of federal programs and educational examiner.
Can I get a motion to approve? Motion by Bobby, second by Natalie, all in favor?
Take a drink after all that. Okay.
Hey, I have one more thing. The church, did we get anything, did we demolish in the church or anything, get any, and if we gotten anywhere with maybe pulling the church down or any quotes or?
No, well, not that I know of, we haven't talked about that,
Okay.
Natalie, and I, so.
No, I apologize.
No, I was just asking.
Progress on it.
What about the land sale? Did we ever get that done?
On 23.
That's still
I
not.
don't have a good answer for that either.
Oh my goodness.
I did ask about that the other day, but.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt will fill me in on the landfill.
No,
Land sale.
Oh, land sale.
Land sale on 23 North.
Oh.
It's been going on for like 2.5 years.
Like the whole time I've been on the board.
Yeah.
Like when my first meeting, I was like, what is this? And
But
it's
there
still
was a big
going.
I was
paperwork.
really hopeful it would be resolved by the time he left and was really upset it wasn't. It was at the attorney and the attorney was supposed to.
Yeah.
Fill out a
Every meeting
paper, I
is
think,
like,
it's always
oh, it's
happened
almost
before.
Matt will fill me
It's-
in tomorrow.
Yeah, it's about the verbiage in it, and it's, anyway.
And I would
Maybe
just
I'll have
like,
an update for you next month.
I would just like to say, because I see that Lane's last day with us is the end of the month. Thank you very much for coming and doing all you did, and not thank you for, but I appreciate it. I know it's been a lot. And
I think you got maintenance going back in the right direction.
Yes, and got things.
I mean, that was my goal. I hope I'm leaving in a better place than it was whenever I come in. So, it was with a lot of prayer, but, I think it's best for me and my family at this point to look at something else.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, we're still gonna see you till June, right?
Yep,
Okay.
I'll finish my contract out.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Can I get a motion to adjourn?